Hello, mysterious Scorpio. If these words have found their way to you, trust that this moment is not accidental. Something that has been quietly moving beneath the surface for a long time is beginning to reveal itself, including a new flow of abundance that is finding its way toward you. Yet at the same time, something that has weighed heavily on your heart may be reaching the end of its role in your life. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore why opportunity and release often arrive together, what may be preparing to leave your path, and how you can move through this threshold without losing either your blessings or your sense of self. If you feel ready to welcome what is meant for you, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I am ready to receive blessings and release what no longer belongs in my next chapter. That message is more than a comment. It is a conscious acknowledgement that you are willing to work with the energy opening before you. If this message resonates with you, consider liking and sharing the video so these reflections and positive human values can reach others who may need them. To understand why prosperity and endings often appear side by side during pivotal periods in Scorpio's life, we first need to return to the deeper nature of this sign and the purpose it carries. Scorpio is often connected with Pluto in modern astrology, the force of transformation, renewal, and truth beneath appearances. This energy is like an underground river that continues moving even when no one can see it, slowly reshaping everything around it. It is the courage to enter emotional depths, to face what has been hidden, and to emerge carrying greater wisdom. That is why Scorpio is associated with cycles of death and rebirth, not as endings, but as gateways into something more authentic. You are rarely someone who follows a path simply because it already exists. More often, your life unfolds through profound inner shifts that change how you see yourself and the world around you. Through years of observing birth charts, I have noticed that Scorpio is not here to remain unchanged. You are here to transform. Wherever your energy becomes fully present, deeper truths begin to surface, and when you move on, what was hidden often becomes impossible to ignore. Yet there is a paradox within this gift. Because your soul naturally seeks depth and growth, you may sometimes remain in situations that have already completed their purpose, hoping they can become what they once promised to be. You tell yourself to be patient, to hold on a little longer, to keep investing emotionally. Still, somewhere beneath the surface, there is a quiet feeling that something no longer fits. That feeling is not ingratitude or dissatisfaction. It is your inner wisdom recognizing that you have outgrown a space that can no longer support who you are becoming. I want to share something directly with you. Many Scorpios are not struggling because of a lack of money. They are exhausted because too much of their energy has been invested in relationships, obligations, and environments that no longer match their evolution. The issue is rarely financial. More often, it is the cost of holding on to what belongs to a previous chapter rather than the one that is trying to emerge. When transformational energy is suppressed, it does not disappear. It becomes emotional pressure, restlessness, and the feeling that you are unable to live as fully as you were meant to. Life has a way of responding when a soul remains in an outdated space for too long. Sometimes the invitation to change arrives through a new financial opportunity. Sometimes it arrives through a separation that creates room for something more aligned. The lesson is simple, even if it is not always easy. The person willing to step through the doorway of change often experiences the discomfort first, but they also recognize the new path before others do. Scorpio is not here merely to preserve what already exists. You are here to move through cycles of transformation, and every transformation asks you to loosen your grip on something that can no longer travel with you. I know many Scorpios have wondered why growth often arrives carrying both promise and sadness. Why do new opportunities appear at the same time as the need to leave behind a person, a place, or an identity that once felt familiar? The answer is rooted in your nature. You evolve through truth and transformation, not through remaining where it feels comfortable. There is something I often say to Scorpio, and it is not always easy to hear. If life has felt unchanged for a very long time, it may be because your soul is waiting for a deeper level of honesty. At that point, life stops hiding the truth. It begins revealing what can no longer remain beneath the surface. If these words speak to you, pause for a moment and ask yourself something sincerely. Have you ever felt that your spirit has grown beyond the environment around you? Have you felt larger than the role you are playing, larger than the expectations others place upon you, or larger than the relationships you are trying so hard to maintain? If the answer is yes, that is not arrogance. It is your intuition recognizing a deeper reality. If you feel that you are standing at an important threshold, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I allow myself to step into a space that truly reflects my value. That statement is not for anyone else. It is a conversation with yourself, a quiet acknowledgement that you are ready to accept responsibility for the person you are becoming. Remember that in astrology, money is not only about material gain, it is also a reflection of the value you are willing to recognize within yourself. When Scorpio releases what has already completed its purpose, new forms of abundance gain room to enter. When old emotional structures are allowed to dissolve, opportunities that once seemed distant can finally reach you. If these reflections feel meaningful, consider liking and sharing this video so others standing at a similar threshold can encounter the message as well. And this is only the beginning, because when Scorpio's inner world expands beyond the limits of an old chapter, life responds with remarkable clarity. Let us slow down for a moment. There is no need to rush because what is unfolding is not a sudden event, but the result of a cycle that has been developing quietly over time. In Scorpio's chart, when Jupiter begins activating the second house or the eighth house, a powerful doorway opens. This is not simply about money. It is about the meeting point between personal value and the deeper exchanges of energy, resources, and lessons that shape a life. One side reflects what you have built through your own choices, effort, and commitment. The other reflects what returns after years of carrying responsibilities, facing challenges, and learning difficult lessons. Jupiter does not usually bring abundance through haste. Instead, it expands what you are genuinely prepared to hold. I want to share this perspective gently. Money does not arrive simply because it is needed. It arrives when you are capable of receiving it without losing yourself in the process. When Jupiter touches these areas of Scorpio's chart, it often signals that you have completed an important chapter of learning about self-worth, boundaries, and personal value. Others may never have noticed those quiet lessons, but life did. Life saw the moments when you stopped diminishing yourself for approval. Life saw the moments when you became wise enough not to use money as a way to prove that you were more valuable than someone else. Because of that inner growth, the doorway to new blessings begins to open. Yet it is important to recognize the influence of Pluto and Saturn during this period. These planets are not known for offering effortless rewards. Pluto uncovers what has been hidden, while Saturn examines what is strong enough to endure. When both energies call for a shift in values, old beliefs about money can no longer travel with you into the next chapter. Ideas such as using money to fill emotional emptiness, to keep someone from walking away, or to create a false sense of safety begin to lose their hold. The lesson here is both simple and profound. Money is meant to expand your ability to create good in the world, not to help you avoid pain. If there was ever a time when money became a substitute for something missing inside, Pluto encourages you to look directly at that wound. This is not about punishment. It is about healing. Take a moment to really absorb this thought. Money is not arriving so you can prove your worth. It is arriving so you can live more honestly as the person you truly are. When Scorpio understands this, abundance no longer feels heavy or demanding. It becomes a resource that supports a life filled with greater meaning, deeper contribution, and more freedom to choose what aligns with the soul. Many Scorpios move into this phase carrying two emotions at once. There is hope because a light finally appears ahead, and there is uncertainty because something inside already knows that life will not remain exactly as it was. That mixture of feelings is completely natural. Every expansion asks you to leave part of an older version of yourself behind. If you sense that new financial opportunities are approaching while your emotions seem unusually intense or your intuition feels stronger than usual, it may be a sign that a deeper cycle involving value and abundance is becoming active. You are being invited into a larger role where money is connected to responsibility as much as enjoyment. I want to ask you something, and I hope you answer honestly for yourself. What do you truly want money to help you create? Is it security, freedom, the ability to choose your own path, or a dream you once felt hesitant to pursue? If you would like, leave your answer in the comments, not for anyone else's approval, but so you can see your own desire more clearly. If this message brings you comfort or clarity, please consider liking and sharing the video. Sometimes hearing the right words at the right moment reminds people that they are not alone while growing into a new version of themselves. Before we continue, remember this: whenever significant abundance begins to appear in Scorpio's life, it often arrives carrying both a blessing and a subtle test. Money rarely enters alone, and something else is moving alongside it. If earlier we explored the deeper nature of Scorpio, now it is time to slow down and look more carefully at what is unfolding beneath the surface of prosperity and opportunity. What is taking shape is not random. It is the result of a cycle that has been developing quietly for much longer than it may seem. When Jupiter activates the second house or the eighth house in Scorpio's chart, a powerful axis begins to awaken. This is not only about financial gain, it is the meeting point between personal value and what might be called karmic return. One side reflects the effort, choices, and growth you have cultivated over time. The other reflects what returns after the burdens you have carried, the responsibilities you have honored, and the lessons you have survived, including those no one else ever saw. Jupiter does not usually bring abundance through luck alone. It expands whatever is stable enough to be sustained. When this energy moves through the second or eighth house of Scorpio, it suggests that an important phase of growth around self-worth has reached maturity. Old limitations involving boundaries, self-respect, and identity begin to dissolve, creating room for a new flow of resources to enter. Alongside Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn continue to play significant roles. Their presence shows that this is not merely a season of receiving, it is also a season of purification. Pluto examines the hidden motivations beneath material desires, while Saturn evaluates the strength of the values supporting your choices. When these forces work together, outdated definitions of money must be reconsidered. Money can no longer serve as a substitute for emotional fulfillment, a way to hold on to people, or a temporary shelter from uncertainty. Those perspectives gradually lose their power. The lesson of this period is both direct and deeply meaningful. Money is a tool that expands positive influence, not a hiding place for unresolved pain. As this deeper cycle becomes active, the way you use money reflects the values living within you. Anything built on illusion becomes easier to recognize. Anything rooted in truth gains the opportunity to grow stronger. There is an important message here that deserves your full attention. Money does not appear so you can impress anyone. It appears to support a life that is more aligned with who you really are. Once that truth is understood, abundance stops feeling like pressure. It becomes a resource that adds depth, meaning, and a greater ability to contribute to the people around you. During this phase, many Scorpios experience two very different feelings at the same time. There is excitement as a new doorway begins to open, and there is also a quiet uneasiness as intuition signals that familiar patterns are changing. That experience is a natural part of growth. Every meaningful expansion asks you to release a version of yourself that once felt comfortable. When financial opportunities appear alongside powerful emotional awareness, it often signals that this deeper cycle of value and abundance is strongly active. You are being invited into a role where money becomes connected to responsibility, conscious choice, and lasting impact rather than temporary pleasure. At this moment, there is an important question worth considering. The abundance moving toward you, what do you want it to build in your life? Greater security, more freedom to choose your direction, the ability to create a meaningful future, or a value you once placed at the bottom of the list. Giving that purpose a name, whether quietly to yourself or through a brief comment below, is also a way of bringing awareness to the energy that is already beginning to move. If these reflections bring you a sense of clarity or comfort, sharing them with others can become an act of connection as well. Sometimes a message arrives at exactly the right moment and reminds people that they are not alone while navigating change, growth, and the quiet rebuilding of their lives. Before we continue, There is something important to keep in mind. Whenever a significant flow of abundance begins moving into Scorpio's life, it often arrives carrying more than a blessing. Money rarely enters a new chapter by itself. Alongside it, another transformation is usually drawing closer beneath the surface. After periods shaped by financial shifts, emotional release, and changing priorities, Scorpio begins moving into a very different space. This phase is not dramatic or loud, and it does not ask you to fight for recognition or prove your worth anymore. Instead, it marks a deeper expression of your inner power. In astrology, there is a difference between reactive strength and conscious strength. A younger expression of energy responds immediately, driven by instinct, emotion, and the urge to act without delay. A mature expression moves differently. It chooses its moments carefully and understands that wisdom is found not only in movement, but also in restraint. This lesson carries particular meaning for Scorpio because you often carry more than others realize. You are accustomed to holding responsibility, protecting what matters, and enduring far longer than most people know. Yet true strength is not measured by how much you can carry. Sometimes it is revealed through your ability to set something down without feeling that you have lost part of yourself. There are moments when people continue simply because continuing has become familiar. You stay connected to a relationship because of everything you have already invested. You remain on a path because turning away feels harder than moving forward. Yet mature wisdom does not measure value by how much time has passed. It measures value by whether something still aligns with the truth of the present moment. You do not need to become tougher than you already are. What matters now is honesty. Honesty about emotions that have quietly become exhausted. Honesty about connections that require you to shrink your spirit. Honesty about choices that, deep down, you already know are asking too much of you. This stage carries an important lesson about growth. Not everyone is meant to walk beside the version of you that is emerging. That does not make them wrong, and it does not make you better. It simply means that certain paths, rhythms, and directions are no longer moving together. For Scorpio, this realization can be especially challenging because you often believe that a little more effort might change everything. You may feel that if you hold on a little longer or give a little more of yourself, the outcome will finally shift. Yet the energy surrounding this phase is not encouraging endless endurance, it is encouraging clarity. When you step away at the right moment, you are not abandoning anyone. You are protecting your life force. And when that energy is no longer drained by what has completed its purpose, you can enter the next chapter with a heart that still has strength to give. There may be a period of emptiness as this transition unfolds. Familiar conversations fade. Old routines lose their pull. The emotional patterns that once filled your days may no longer feel the same. Yet this quiet space serves a purpose because it allows you to hear yourself with greater honesty than before. As the noise settles, you may discover that some of the burdens you carried never truly belonged to you. Certain emotional weights were inherited, absorbed, or accepted without question. Mature wisdom teaches that not every situation requires a response. Not every invitation deserves your energy, and not every conflict needs to be solved immediately. Some things are transformed simply by being released. If you find yourself in this phase, allow yourself to slow down. This is not about giving up. It is about reconnecting with what genuinely matters beneath all the expectations and demands. You may want to ask yourself a simple but powerful question. What is draining me the most right now, and why am I still holding on to it? If you feel called to do so, share your answer in the comments. What lesson about release and renewal are you learning at this stage of your life? Perhaps it involves a relationship, a habit, a role, or even an image of yourself that has remained long after it stopped feeling true. If these words resonate with you, consider liking and sharing this video, not to spread sadness, but to spread awareness. Many people are learning the same lesson of timing, trust, and letting go. As Scorpio moves through this transformation, a new doorway gradually begins to appear. When your choices are guided less by emotional reaction and more by inner truth, something shifts. What follows is no longer a test. It becomes the result of everything you have learned. Beyond this point, the focus begins to move away from loss and toward expansion. After periods of purification involving money, relationships, and self-discovery, Scorpio enters a very different landscape. This space is no longer concerned with proving strength. It is about allowing your true value to be recognized. In astrology, this aligns with the activation of the 10th house, the area connected to purpose, reputation, contribution, and the impact you leave on the world around you. The 10th house is not interested in temporary success. It does not measure life by speed, status, or quick achievements. It asks a deeper question about who you become as your influence grows. It examines the way you treat people, the values behind your choices, and the responsibility you carry when others begin looking toward you. When this area becomes active for Scorpio, abundance takes on a different meaning. Money is no longer simply personal. It becomes connected to service, leadership, and the effect your actions have on a larger community. This is where another form of wealth begins to emerge. It is the wealth of meaning. There is something important to understand here. Scorpio becomes truly rich when there is no longer a need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need evidence that you are strong. You do not need constant validation that you are capable. You do not need achievements to confirm your worth. The moment success stops being used as protection for the ego, it begins flowing with far greater ease. Many Scorpios discover a quiet truth during this stage. You no longer need to force momentum. You only need to remain grounded. You no longer need to raise your voice to be noticed. You simply need to speak from a place of authenticity and precision. When that happens, people naturally recognize your presence. Trust begins to form. Others become willing to follow the vision you carry because it is rooted in substance rather than performance. The deeper lesson of the 10th house is simple yet powerful. True success is not about standing above others. True success is about standing firmly enough that others can find support in your strength. When Scorpio steps into this stage, leadership begins to look different. It no longer comes only from intensity, determination, or the ability to push through difficult circumstances. Instead, it grows from quiet confidence, clear judgment, and a deeper sense of responsibility. You begin leading not through force, but through the steady presence you bring into every space you enter. At some point, you may realize that the people or connections that left your life did not actually take anything away from you. In many ways, they guided you back to yourself. What seemed like a loss was often a return to a version of you that no longer seeks approval, no longer exhausts itself maintaining appearances, and no longer questions where it belongs. During this period, your professional path may begin moving in a new direction. The change may not appear dramatic from the outside, but it often feels deeper from within. It could involve greater responsibility, a leadership position, or work connected to helping a larger community. What matters most is not the title itself, but the feeling that accompanies it. You begin acting from alignment rather than expectation. The motivation shifts from receiving something in return to doing what feels genuinely right. When that change occurs, abundance tends to arrive differently. It comes without unnecessary chaos, without constant pressure, and without demanding your peace in exchange. Money becomes a result rather than a destination. It supports the values you are already living instead of pulling you away from them. If you recognize yourself in this phase, take a moment to appreciate how far you have come. The setbacks, separations, and pauses that once felt difficult may now reveal themselves as essential parts of the path that brought you here. You have arrived at a place where worthiness no longer needs to be earned because it is already understood. There is an important question worth asking yourself now. Who do you want to become during the next 6 months? Not what financial goal you hope to reach, and not what title you hope to achieve, but what kind of person you want to be while standing in a greater position of influence. Do you want to be calmer, more grounded, more insightful, or more capable of creating a positive impact in the lives of others? If you feel inspired, share your answer in the comments. Sometimes giving a future version of yourself a name is the first conscious step toward growing into it. If these reflections strengthen your spirit or restore a sense of trust in your journey, consider liking and sharing this video, not to celebrate status or success, but to encourage a healthier understanding of value, responsibility, and abundance. Before we move forward, there is one truth worth carrying with you. The road ahead for Scorpio is no longer about personal competition. It is about legacy. It is about the imprint you leave through the way you live, the choices you make, and the energy you bring into the world. When you walk that path with awareness, life responds in ways that often feel meaningful and deeply aligned. There is still an important message waiting here, one that emerges not from effort alone, but from the harmony between who you are and the direction you have chosen. If you are still listening, that already says something significant, not because you are searching for a miracle, and not simply because you are curious. Deep within, there is a part of you that senses this chapter is unfolding for a reason. The changes moving through your life carry a pattern, a purpose, and a deeper meaning beneath the surface. Abundance arrives to create movement. Separation arrives to create freedom. Both can become blessings when viewed through the lens of awareness. This is not merely a comforting idea. It reflects a deeper truth found in astrology, personal growth, and lived experience. When you look back over everything that has happened, you may notice that none of it was wasted. Every step contributed something valuable. Every ending revealed something important. Money enters Scorpio's life, not to transform you into someone else, but to help you express more of who you already are. It often arrives after you have learned difficult lessons about boundaries, self-respect, and the need to stop seeking recognition from the outside world. It arrives when you are mature enough to stop using wealth as protection from fear and begin using it as a tool to create a life filled with purpose, meaning, and contribution. The same truth applies to separation. It is not designed to punish you. It exists to clear away attachments that have completed their purpose, relationships that no longer grow alongside your spirit, roles that required you to become smaller in order to fit comfortably inside them. When these things leave, the space they create is not meant to diminish you. It is meant to make room for what comes next. There may have been moments when you question why loss seemed to accompany every new beginning, why periods of hope were often followed by emotional challenges, yet with enough distance, a different perspective becomes visible. Each release protected you from remaining trapped inside a version of yourself that was no longer true. Scorpio was never meant to live a life confined by old limitations, yet living a larger life requires learning how to release what no longer belongs, not through resentment and not through resistance, but through awareness and acceptance. Right now, there is no need to rush toward an answer. There is no need to force a major decision before you are ready. What matters most is allowing yourself a quiet moment to recognize how much you have changed. Notice how much more clearly you understand yourself now. Notice how much easier it has become to step away from situations that once caused pain. If you feel as though you're standing between one chapter and the next, trust the significance of that space. You have already released much of what belongs to the past, yet the future is still taking shape. This is a meaningful threshold. It is the place where old patterns no longer pull you backward and where new possibilities have not yet rushed in to define your direction. It is also the place where choices can be made from clarity rather than fear. If you feel ready to welcome the next chapter, leave a gentle confirmation below this video. I allow myself to receive blessings and release what no longer belongs in my path. That statement is not meant for anyone else. It is a way of hearing your own intentions clearly and recognizing what you are ready to welcome and what you are prepared to release. If this video has brought you clarity, comfort, or simply the feeling of being understood, consider liking and sharing it. Not to spread sadness, but to share healing and awareness. Many other Scorpios are also moving through quiet transformations of their own. There is one thing that deserves to be remembered above all else. You did not come here to become flawless. You came here to become real. Real with your emotions, real with your boundaries, and real with the deepest desires that continue to guide you forward. When you begin living from that level of honesty, life has a way of responding with opportunities that genuinely belong to you. Everything you have moved through recently was never meant to make you smaller or weaker. It was meant to bring greater clarity. Clarity about what you truly deserve. Clarity about the person you are becoming, and clarity about what no longer has a place in your future. That understanding becomes the ground beneath everything that follows. Yet there is still another layer to this journey. As Scorpio moves through these lessons surrounding abundance, release, and personal values, a quieter kind of power starts to emerge from within. It is not the power of control or force, but something much deeper. This is the ability to lead through presence rather than pressure. It is the ability to remain steady instead of reacting to every wave that passes through your life. It is the strength that comes from living in alignment with your truth, rather than constantly trying to prove yourself. Little by little, this energy becomes one of the most valuable gifts these experiences have been preparing you to receive. And that gift holds an important role in the chapter that is beginning to unfold. It is a chapter where you no longer feel compelled to chase destiny or force life to move according to your plans. Instead, you begin walking beside it with greater trust, awareness, and understanding. I will explore that message more deeply in the next video.